We're getting into how to carry materials, something that, whether you're a beginner tradesperson or have been in it for years, you're going to be doing on a daily basis. Okay people, I'm Sean Stewart and we're back in the Organized Chaos Carpentry shop. We're about getting down to the basics in the trade, stuff tradespeople wish they knew before they got started, and stuff to help you around your home. Today, we're getting into something that seems really simple and really basic. We're getting into how to carry materials, something that, whether you're a beginner tradesperson or have been in it for years, you're going to be doing on a daily basis. It seems simple, but there's more to it than you think. The first method I want to talk about for picking up 2x4s and any dimensional lumber really is the underslung. The underslung, picking up like underhanded, is not really socially acceptable on the job site. But that's where you're probably going to start and where you've started in the past in picking up lumber. You're going to want to move on pretty quickly to one of the more socially acceptable forms of carrying lumber, which are on your shoulder. But we're gonna start there anyways. So simply just picking it up underhanded. It is on the job site. Nothing against it for short distances, moving a few pieces of lumber here or there, putting it up on some sawhorses. But you're gonna wanna move on to on your shoulder for any sort of distance. The next method to get this stack of lumber on your shoulder I'm going to use is the walk up. Just walk it until you get to about the halfway point and you can pull it up the rest of the way up on your shoulder. It's the same way for walking it down, is put the tip down and then start walking back. Once you get so far back, I would often reach over and drop it the rest of the way. Which kind of leads me to the next method that I like to use, which is the flip up method. And so often when I'm gathering up boards off the ground, I will stack them on my foot, and then I will grab a hold and flip them up. You can do the same way for flipping them back down. Yeah, we'll just do that. And so, around, down, and down. Next, I want to talk about your arm position for any on the shoulder carrying. You're gonna find that if you're getting started in this is, at least for me, my muscle tone was a little more lacking when I first started a while ago when I was 100 pounds soaking wet. And this bone right in here, that bone gets sore when you're carrying a bunch of lumber if you don't do it right. Well, sometimes even if you do it right. But what you're gonna find is if you just have your board like this and your arm down, is that 2x4 is resting all its weight on that bone up there. There's two methods of going about getting that board, the weight of that board off your bone. One is bringing your arm up and it rests it more on that deltoid muscle, or bringing your arm forward, which does the same thing. It moves the weight more onto the muscle and less onto the bone, giving you a little bit more of a break. Now we're talking about picking up some sheet goods. Picking up sheet goods for me is, when it's on the ground, is very similar in a lot of ways, the three different methods I do it, but it all comes down to which direction you're approaching the sheet from. And so, if I'm approaching from the back, or from the short side, I pick up and I walk all the way up. So I'd walk all the way up, and then I would tilt it back on one corner and drop it down into my hand. And putting it down, I drop the corner, walk it down, drop it down. Picking it up from this angle would be the exact opposite. Flipping up, walking it up on the corner, picking it up. Now, all of this is a lot easier when you're taller. When you're shorter, you're gonna have a harder time reaching the top and just maneuvering it, because not only can't you reach very well, it's gonna feel like a lot of weight. Right now I'm just working with a piece of 3/8, and so it's not too bad for me. But when you start getting into 1/2 inch or potentially even 3/4, you're gonna feel it. Now we're gonna go on to picking it up off a sawhorse. I have my piece of plywood up on a set of sawhorses here, but it would be very similar if you had it on a stack of other plywood and you're just moving this whole stack around. And so there's 2 methods I'd be picking up the piece of plywood in this way. I would pull it out and push down to bring the top towards me. The more you pull it up, the easier it is to push down, but also the further you have to kneel down to get it, which is fine. So flip up, grab, and you got it. And so you can put it down the exact same way. The other way of picking it up in this case is pulling it out, flipping it up. And if you got a set of sawhorses, you can reach your hand underneath. If you're on a stack of plywood, you wouldn't be able to because you got plywood all there. So you got to move it, and so it's overhanging the rest of the stack, and get your hand underneath. Those are the 2 main methods of pulling a piece of plywood off a set of sawhorses or a stack of plywood. After moving a whole skid of plywood, you're going to feel a little bit of pain. Where I typically feel a little bit of pain is my elbow. I have a bad habit of locking off my elbow when I'm carrying plywood around. So how you counteract that is just bending your arm just slightly. The problem with bending your arm just slightly is that your bicep is now gonna get sore, get tired. I really don't have a solution for that, but I'm just warning you, one or the other is going to be a little bit tired by the end of moving a whole skid of plywood around. Those are the methods to lift and carry plywood and to lift and put down dimensional lumber. In conclusion, you're going to be carrying lumber. If you're going into construction, you're going to be carrying sheet goods or you're going to be carrying lumber. It's just going to be part of your daily activity. So you might as well try and do it the best way possible. So you can use one of the methods we've shown, or you can use a method that you have for yourself. Tell us about it. If you're interested in the tools we use, we'll have them linked in the description below. If you're stopping by for the first time and haven't already and are interested, hit that subscribe button and we'll see you back in the shop soon.